Recording in progress.
Recording in progress.
That was good. Recording. No, God.
Recording.
Recording in progress.
Welcome to Drum and Drummer, a podcast focused on drums, drumming and drummers. I'm George Pickering and that's Ben Winty, and we are both professional drummers in this business we call music. So stick around and join us as we pass the time whilst trying to stay in time.
Wouldn't it be funny if Miss Henry had a wouldn't it be funny if Miss Henry had a wouldn't it be funny if Miss Henry had a wouldn't it be funny if Miss Henry had a wouldn't it be funny if Miss Henry had a wouldn't it?
Welcome to Drum and Drummer.
Welcome. I'm in the control room of the studio, mate.
You are. It's
As you
looking
can
good.
tell. Yeah, I've got a new little setup in here. So here
Doesn't
I
the
am.
door of the room look quite far away on the screen? Is that a weird thing to say?
Don't know.
Like it looks really small.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I guess it's sort of 5 or 6 meters away.
At least. Looks tiny.
It's definitely not more than 6 because the room's 6 meters. But anyway, welcome.
That's a good setup.
Yeah. How you
Welcome.
been, mate? How have you been?
Well, I've been better. I've got COVID, haven't I? I'll run you through.
Absolutely riddled.
I am riddled. I'll run you through it. So
Sure.
Sunday night, last Sunday, went to a pub quiz, won the pub quiz, but at what cost? Because I have COVID, and everyone on the team ended up getting it. So, yeah,
Was that the
But I
prize?
that was the prize. You get
Yeah.
COVID. If you win, someone infects you. Someone with COVID coughs in your mouth. But I didn't know I had it until Wednesday when I saw you. And, we were hanging out all day.
All day.
And then all day. And then that night I was like, oh, don't feel great. Next morning, ooh, don't feel great again. And then I had to take my car to the MOT. Imagine this. So this was Thursday. Woke up feeling awful. Took my car to the MOT, to the garage. Dropped it off. Came back, did a test. 2 lines, baby. I've got COVID. And then I get a call from the mechanic about an hour later. Hi, George. Just to let you know, your car has failed, but I'll do the work on it now if you want. It's going to be about 400 quid. So imagine that. Imagine within 2 hours, COVID and 400 quid on the car. So, yeah, as Thursday mornings go, that wasn't a great one. But yeah, it's just annoying now, just having it, because I sort of had the runny nose and the cough and all that. But, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not on a ventilator and I'm not, not dead.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it's the tiredness.
I do have a replacement lined up
For the podcast or
for co-hosting duties. Yeah, if you
Yep.
were to just croak.
just die?
Yeah.
Everyone's replaceable.
Got them lined up.
Yep.
They're raring to go, so fingers crossed.
I mean, the only thing they need to be is bald and a drummer. So, question 1, how did you get Phil Collins' number? How did you get his contact info?
Well, it turns out actually that Ross Kemp had a drum lesson once in 1987, so he's on board.
Jokes aside, Al Murray is actually a proficient drummer,
Yes.
so he'd
one
be a good
day,
one.
we'll get him on.
Yeah, he'd be a
Get
good
Big Al on.
guest.
Yeah.
Bill Burr, obviously,
Sure.
drummer and bald.
Yeah.
How you been?
Yeah. Okay, mate. Yeah. Quite busy. Busy here at the studio, recording, mixing, admin,
Yep.
all that. I've had a couple of days where like nothing's gone wrong, like I haven't had a double line and a £400 MOT,
Yeah.
but nothing's felt easy either.
Right.
You got things to do and there's no flow, and you're kind of fighting against, I don't know, you're fighting against your own like I don't know, like you have to just push yourself to get stuff done.
Yeah.
You're not in that place where you're like, yeah, let's do this, let's do that, like that. You're like, right, come on. As long as I just need to get these things done.
Yep.
And I'm going to go, right, these are the 3 things I want to get done today. And you do them, and it's not easy, it's not free flowing, it's not necessarily fun, but you get the things done. So I just had a couple of days like that where it's like, everything's just a tiny little bit of a chore.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you this: Are Are the things you're getting done things that don't really have an end point, if that makes sense? As in like practicing for something?
No, well, I think as I get older, just in general, it's the frustration that pretty much nothing has an end point,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I've got to do washing, but I'll never be
Yeah.
at a point where like that's it. Yep, I
Yeah.
get the badge that goes, well done, you've completed washing.
Yeah.
Or oh, I've got to go and buy food again, have I?
Food
Fucking
buying
hell.
is genuinely annoying because I'm at fault in that I only buy enough food for a day and then go, that'll be enough for today. And then the next day, go, oh, I've got to do it again. I never do a big shop, but it is. I'm like, have I run out of milk again? You know,
Yeah.
it's constant. There was a book I read, not to make it immediately about books George has read, but and it was in the later part of the author's life, and there's a bit where he's talking about putting on his pants in the morning. He was just like, how many times have I put on my pants in my life? And you could tell he was at the end of his life. I remember reading that going, that's probably how it is when you get to 70 or 80. You're just going, I've done this a million times. I've put on pants every morning. I still have to do it the next day. Like, that's how he knew he was ready for death at that point because of he said things just, take on a repeat. And you're just like, oh, I've got to do it again.
Well, I think like with the things I've had to sort of do recently, it's like, okay, well, Sunday I'm recording all day. So it's like, well, I can't do anything else Sunday. That's a good day's work. But then it's little things like, okay, so on Friday, well, actually, I mean, the new snare drum arrived.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about that.
We need to discuss that.
Yeah, so Friday, I got the Pearl snare that we talked about. Finally arrived. Annoyingly, Friday, so I was meant to have a band rehearsal with the Dent Act, and then a client at the studio was like, oh, can I rehearse on Friday? I said, well, we're closed Fridays. I said, but this Friday, I'm going to be in rehearsal with my band, so if you want to do similar time, you can just go in the other room. Our rehearsal got cancelled, of course, so I was like, oh, well, now I've got to go in for this thing, and then it was like, oh, Thursday night, oh, the snare's being delivered Friday to my house. Oh, for fuck's sake. And what time in the morning? Oh, exactly the time I have to be at work.
Yep.
Great. So the guy turned up, and I said to him, no, I'm really sorry, but like, I just got to pop home for half an hour because I've got important delivery coming. He was fine with it. So I got the snare, instantly came back straight back to work. But I thought, well, because I'm not rehearsing, I'm just going to I wanted to do some practice anyway for a gig coming up, which we're going to talk about later. But I was like, but I can also get the new snare up and running. And I've actually made a video, a sort of unboxing video of the snare
I think
drum.
it should be on the Insta by now. By the time
Should be
this
on the
comes
Insta by
out.
now. So yeah, you've hopefully seen it. If not, go and have a little look. But I've got the snare. But then it was just that like, and then I don't know, like yesterday, it was kind of like, I don't know, just got things like I've started mixing this track, and it's like, well, I definitely can't get it all done. But so it's going, okay, well, I'll just get it to this point, but then I'll get the next bit done. And then, I don't know, I guess it's having like several different things going on.
Yep.
5 or 6 things going on. And it's the I think a challenge of being sort of the self-employed or running your own business. Like, well, where do I put my priority?
Yep.
Where do I put my time today? Where's that best spent? And when there's no one telling you what to do, there's no one above going, right, I need you to do this first. When you've got to self-govern your own workflow, you're a bit like, well, I could do this, but if I do that, then it means I won't be able to do this other thing till tomorrow. But what's more important? And then sometimes you've got emails and stuff to do with gigs or studio stuff where it's like, well, I need to get that done, but I can't do 2 things at once. And you just have to make that list and that self-governing of your time, which can be quite tough. And I think sometimes in my head, I get a bit like, I don't know. I just don't know what to do first, or like what's more important. And then I think I do get frustrated if I'm not able to complete something. I am a little bit of a completionist, and it's like if I can't do a whole task and get it done, because even so on Friday when I was practicing, I was like, I'm just going to film myself playing through some of these songs. I'll film it, and I was like, I might just sync them up to the original track and maybe put them on social media. And yesterday it was like I wanted to do the edit the unboxing video of the snare, and I was like, "Ugh, I want to get those drum videos edited, but there's like 9 of them, and I'm just not going to be able to do it all tonight.
Yeah.
And I want to go home and have some dinner, so it's just like, I just can't get that done. And you're like, well, now I've got to push that to another day, but then I can't do anything on it tomorrow because I've got other stuff to do, and just trying to manage all that shit can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes.
Are you someone? I think what I do is I generally, if I have, say, I've got something to practice, I'll do everything that I know has a completion thing to it, and then I'll do the practice. Because for me, like practicing whatever it is for a gig, it always feels like you're never really done with it. You know, you can always practice more. Whereas if I've got, say, I've got to reply to this email and I've got to do this thing that has a, you know, very solid, once it's done, it's done. And then I get them out of the way. And then I feel like, oh, I can kind of practice a bit more freely now. But the thing I've got at the moment is, and this is quite a lovely feeling, for the first time in a while, if not ever, it's felt like things are picking up speed, perhaps, like music wise and gig wise. I've always felt like I'm sort of trudging along, like just crawling along. Oh, there's a gig. Oh, now there's nothing for a bit. Whereas the past month, I'd say, like it's been like every day, you know, hey, are you able to do this gig or whatever? So now I'm getting to a point where I'm sort of wondering when to practice for stuff, because it's like, this is what I was going to come on to. In the last 2 weeks, there's 2 artists who have asked me to play gigs for them.
Very nice.
Which is great, but I'm kind of going, when do I practice? Because one is on April the 1st, and then there's another one that's
Are you
like
sure that
tour.
gig's not a joke, mate? April Fool's not an April Fool's Day.
It's the morning of April the 1st.
At Wembley.
Yeah.
Are you free?
Exactly. But it's but I'm starting to wonder when I practice for all this stuff, because there's one of the things is like a little tour with this artist, a different artist in July.
Oh, so busy now.
And I'm going, should I start looking at the songs now or leave it, you know, because it's like, you know, but that's something I was going to talk about, was word of mouth and stuff, because these kind of came out of nowhere. So on Monday, day after, I'm pretty sure I contracted COVID, I went out to a gig, and I was a bit kind of like, oh, I might go, I might not. And then someone I know messaged me and was like, hey, there's this singer who wants you to play drums for him if you're up for. He's coming to the gig tonight. Do you want to meet him? I was like, yeah, cool. So I met him and we got on great. And I said, well, when are the gigs? And it's like, yeah, this tour in July. But that all came about just because I'd met that girl before in a pub. And what I find great is it's like, she's never actually seen me play. She's never come to one of my gigs, and he's never seen me play. He just saw like a few clips on Instagram, and he was like, yeah, he'll do, sort of thing. And then later on in the week,
I think you should put that quote on your website. He'll do.
Well, yeah, he'll do.
He'll do. Anonymous
and later
singer.
on in the week, someone else, oh yeah, he's called, is in a band called Slater, and then really good band, sort of like indie rock, my kind of thing. And then but later in the week there was this someone else said, hey, would you be up for doing this gig with this artist called Ren at some little festival? And I was like, yeah, definitely, you know. But this singer, she's never seen me play. She's just going on the word of whoever said. So what I was going to discuss is you know, the difference and the perks and downsides of word of mouth or Instagram, because, you know, both of those gigs came about just from people talking about, you know, things, saying he's all right, get him on the gig. But obviously the internet's quite a big thing now, you know. I think it's kind of taken off.
It's come a long way, baby. Come a long way.
And people get gigs from just, you know, having a cool website, or, you know, there was that drummer Cobus who ended up playing for Busted because he was so big on the internet, and it was just like, I think Busted saw him and were like, yeah, we like him, you know. So yeah, I was just going to discuss that because it's an interesting thing, because if you talk to older musicians, they're always of the mindset of, word of mouth is the only way you get gigs, and that's it. Forget about Instagram; it's not a thing. But then if you talk to musicians, you know, who are younger generations, they're sort of no, Instagram's so important because, you know, if you don't have an active Instagram, people forget about you, sort of thing. Yeah. What are your thoughts on it?
My thoughts are, well, I think it's a balance. Like, I remember going back to like when I was sort of in the orchestral world at uni and stuff, and there'd be like it was quite rare that, like, let's say a position opened up in an orchestra, one of the big orchestras, not all the time, but there would be open auditions where anyone could apply, but most of the time they weren't open auditions, and people were personally invited to go and audition. What would happen either way, they'd get down to maybe like 4 trombonists for the position of second trombone, and then each of them would spend, I think, kind of like 3 to 6 months playing as like a trial period in the orchestra. And my professor said, when it gets to that point, all 4 of them are good enough to play in the orchestra. It's who do the others want to sit next to them for the next 10, 20 years?
Yeah.
So then it becomes about, well, you're obviously good enough, but are you a dick? Or are you going to get on well, you know, with us? Because we got to sit next to you every day forever. So, and I think whilst you can cold call people or be cold called, the word of mouth builds whilst maybe you haven't directly met the person, there's an element of trust. Well, if they say they're okay, then I'm going to take a leap. My leap of faith has more foundation to it. And it's like Deps for our bands, for the wedding bands, like, it's incredibly rare. All of them, I'd pretty much go as far as to say all of them have come from word of mouth, from someone else we know. We might not know them, but someone goes, oh, I know this guy, he's good. Cool, you get their number, you sort them out, you put them on the gig. And then you find out, and then you'll go like, oh, maybe this size, you're like, hey, did they do the job well enough? Yes, but then it's like, but actually we really got on, so I'd want them back, just on a pure personality thing. Yeah. But also that they did the job well. So I think, and having Instagram and keeping it populated, which is something I'm awful at, it's the modern business card. It's the modern, you know, and if people can, even we find with like the studio, it's not necessarily that we're trying to show off anything. It's almost just a reminder that you exist. Yep. To exactly people that like, we're still here, like we're still doing stuff, you know, because you'll find that people go, if someone you haven't seen for a while, they're like, oh, you're still drumming? Yeah. You know, whereas if they're seeing that on a feed, they go, oh, they're still drumming. And obviously what's put across is you want, you know, is the best sort of stuff. But I actually started drumming for our agency through word of mouth. That was word of mouth. But I backed it up with some videos, with some evidence. But that entrance into the agency was word of mouth. But then I went, cool, thanks for putting me in touch. Like, here's some stuff. Here's what I can do. Then I think
that's probably where the balance comes in, because what I was going to say is, you know, that guy who I'm playing for, Slater, you know, he said...
AC Slater, Saved by the Bell. I can't remember it, but...
I don't know what this is.
Saved by the Bell.
That a show?
Oh, you're too young. You don't remember Saved by the Bell?
No.
Oh, man. AC Slater. Zach.
Is this the show?
Dustin Diamond. He played Screech.
You just naming. It's just words.
Right. It was massive show that teen set in a high school. Saved by the Bell. And he had Mr. Belding was the principal. And he had Screech played by Dustin Diamond, I think.
I didn't even know who Dustin Diamond is.
He was incredibly nerdy looking. Like, he looked like a little runt. And he was this nerdy kid. And then after the show end, I think he went down a slightly dodgy path. And I think a few years ago he stabbed someone.
Oh, Jesus.
But I think he's dead now. I think he died of cancer.
Okay.
Something like that. So not a happy home life for him. But Saved by the Bell. But I swear the rumour is that they're rebooting it or something. or they have
They
done.
reboot everything.
Yeah,
Everything gets
they'll
rebooted
reboot
in the
this.
end. Yeah.
So,
You're not nearly famous enough for that.
I'll show you. I'm gonna set my other set another drumming podcast up. Be
Yeah.
more successful.
I've got endless names.
Yeah.
More successful. That's
Ben.
one of
yes, that's. Yeah, but I think if word of mouth is going round, but then someone then's like, oh, I want to check them out,
them. Yeah.
and then they see
That's
your
what I was
Instagram.
going to say.
Yeah,
That's what I was going to say. That's
and they
why
can
you
see
need
that
to.
your stuff is there, and they go, oh yeah, he can play. It's almost just to check you're not an idiot. And I'm sure when I sent the stuff to our agency, like word of mouth was great, and they're like, oh cool, well if these two people say they're good, then we'll take that trust. But we've seen some videos, and he's not an idiot. He's not an absolute clown on the drum kit. So fine, we've got both angles covered.
I think that's it. I'll say two things. So one thing was like last year, because I don't really like posting videos of me playing on Instagram from function gigs, because it always feels a bit like, you know, playing a cover. It's a bit like, what are you doing? You know, like I almost feel like the people I like on Instagram aren't showing videos of themselves playing Valerie. But I also thought, well, these are the only gigs I'm doing at the moment, and I want to show that I am playing. So I'd always try and do a bit of a spin on it, you know, like I'm playing a gig, but hey, look at this thing, like, oh, the room was really good sound, or, you know, something to make it less like I am playing Teenage Dirtbag. But that was, that is what is perfect, because exactly, you get the word of mouth, and then someone can back it up with the Instagram. But the other thing I was going to say, which I completely forgot, which is embarrassing. Hang on, edit this out. Genuinely, we might have to pause it, because
do you know what? Let's take a break, and you can think about it, and we'll come back. You can remember your thought. We got all new Tom of the week.
We do,
and then we're going to talk about our gigs coming up this weekend.
Sounds like a plan.
Right. See you in a bit.
Take a break.
Bye. Welcome back to Drum and Drummer.
Welcome back.
George, can you remember what you... No.
I still can't remember it.
Cool. Well, whilst you still try and think, it's time for Tom of the Week.
Way.
Tom of the Week.
That's a lovely, lovely Tom.
This week's Tom of the Week is...
Drum roll, please.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Good. Classic.
Solid.
We all know where we are with him.
Absolutely solid. Just a great body of work.
Brilliant body of work.
Yeah.
You look back on that and go, yeah, I was a great actor.
Yeah. I did all right. You can look back and just go, yeah, nailed that.
Yeah.
Nailed that whole acting thing. Cheers.
And he's not that old. I mean, he's old, but he's, you know, he could still do another 20 years of good films.
Well, yeah. It's funny when you look at like kind of young actors now, and you're like, will they still be going at 60?
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, Tom Hanks, well done, Tom.
Like young bands, I'll just say, like Rolling Stones, they're not young now, but they're still going, and they've been 60 years of being a band. I mean, it's, you know, it's just Mick and Keith left, but Ronnie wasn't there from the start, but you go, that's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
People live for 60 years and they go, well, you know, they had a good life. They've been in a band for 60 years. That's mental.
Yeah. Well done, Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well done, Tom Hanks.
Right. Sorry. I'm just going to talk briefly a little bit more, because I mentioned, obviously, the new snare drum arrived, and I've done my unboxing video.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to just very briefly talk about it.
Be as long as you want. I mean, we haven't really discussed drums yet this episode.
Well, yeah, we talked about, you know, Tom Hanks and COVID.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the drum, it's I quite like it. Yeah, it's nice. It's
let's talk size first of all.
It's 12 by 7. 12 by 7.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's essentially like a rack tom size. Lovely natural wood finish. The snares are attached by, you know, the string.
Yeah.
sometimes it's string, sometimes it's like a plastic little thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
This is string. I
Yeah.
think string's the way to go, really.
I like string.
The string is orange. Lovely little touch.
I like
Quite
that.
like that. Yeah. It's got a standard sort of Pearl Remo branded head on it, which I'm going to replace at some point.
On the top or the bottom?
Both. I'll replace
Yeah,
both.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what to go with on that. So I'll pop down Graham Russell. Shout out Graham Russell.
Shout out Graham Russell.
And sort that out at some point. But yeah, it's got a lovely. It's quite for its size. Quite a lot of power,
Nice.
but because of the depth, it's got a nice, rich body to it.
Yeah. And what about the
So-
drum?
Yes.
Will you be using it on gigs? Is this like
I think I will. Not straight away, because I tell you what, and you'll see this in the unboxing video if you haven't seen it
Yeah.
already. My snare stand doesn't go low enough
oh right.
to get the deeps, because the snare's quite deep.
Yeah.
I can't get it 2 inches lower to be at my ideal
Yeah.
place.
And
so,
as we know, no one has a more specific drum setup than you.
yeah. It's to the
It's-
millimeter.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And if it's not,
Fascinating.
I am rendered absolutely useless. So
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I'd like to take it on a few gigs. I think it would work quite well. But at the moment, I'm not in a rush, just because I'd have to swap out my snare stand and I can't be bothered.
cool
And
to have
I
it-
need
I
to
think
get a case for it as well. That's the other thing. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what case to go for. Either get a 12-inch hard case, or do I just go? The main reason is price, really. Or I go like protection racket, do a 12x7, and it's like a third of the price.
Yeah.
So it's like, I might just do that, but
Do that.
we'll see.
Be cool
We'll
to
see.
have it as I don't know if you've ever tried a second snare on a gig, but that's that's
I've
all the
not,
rage.
and
If there
I've
was
not.
ever-
And I just never would, mate. I never
No,
would.
I know, but I was going to say if you had a gig that was like, say if the Dent Act played a big festival or something that you're like, this is going to be good. I'm going to take my purple kit. I'm going to use all the toms. That'd be the time to use it. But yeah, obviously never on a wedding or something.
Even with the
have
dead
a
net,
second
mate.
snare.
I don't. It doesn't bring anything for that.
No,
sort of
that's
music.
true.
And I'd say it's not different enough. I'd probably be tempted with maybe if I had like a piccolo,
Yeah,
something really different.
yeah.
But nah.
No, fair enough.
But anyway, that's the new snare drum. Lovely,
Yeah.
lovely jubbly.
Nice one.
And speaking of gigs,
Oh yeah, we're going on to gigs.
we've got gigs coming up
We do.
this weekend. Wedding season is officially starting.
Yeah,
Calling it now. Wedding season
But-
is
for this
upon us.
weekend, and then there's nothing really for a bit.
well
and
for
then-
you, but some of us.
I've got one in April. There
Some of
he
us
is,
busy
Mr.
drummers.
Billy Big.
I've got one the week
You-
after as well.
Well done.
Yeah.
Give
Well, that's
yourself
an
a
odd
pat on
one
the back.
because that was only booked about a week ago. They
Yeah.
booked a band for their wedding with only 2 weeks' notice, which is insane. Anyway, we've got gigs coming up.
They probably had a better band that cancelled or something.
Well, I don't say better, but upgrade. They're getting an upgrade.
Wow.
But we've both got gigs this Saturday. And what's interesting, it's not interesting, but it's interesting, is it's both my bands, or bands that
Christ.
I'm in.
Go on.
But
Where are
I
we going
can't
with
do
this?
two
Have I
gigs
got
on
to
the
thank you?
No. But so you are filling in for me
Well,
on,
yeah.
on one of my bands, aren't you?
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
one way of putting it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You're depping for me
Yeah,
on a band because
yeah.
I'm doing my other band. Now,
Yeah.
what's annoying is they're pretty much the only gigs I've got this month.
Yeah.
Why'd they have to be on the same fucking day?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? You could just
I
do the
know.
day earlier, one of you, and then I could do both and earn money.
Yeah.
And then George earns nothing.
yeah.
And then he really struggles
that's
to pay
what
for
you're
his MOT.
saying. Yeah, there you go. There it is.
Yeah, well, this is
Um,
right. So this is the thing. From the selfish point of view,
Yeah.
would I rather do both gigs this month? Yes,
Yeah.
I would, but I can't. So in steps Georgie Boy to fill in for the band I
Yeah.
don't want to play with.
Yeah. So are you looking forward to your first gig back this year?
Nope.
No. There you go.
No.
There
Well,
it is. Why not?
for some regards, I am because it's my pop punk band. So I much prefer the music that we play.
Yep.
Sum 41, Blink-182, Green Day, Nirvana, Foo Fighters, Offspring, Rage Against the Machine. Do you need any more?
Nah, that's all right.
So that's always good. However, first gig back, sound limiter.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, 90 dB sound limiter. Ugh. Oh, just can't be bothered with that. Now, here's the thing. Usually, it's okay, but this is pretty heavy drumming for this sort of music.
Yeah.
Now, some sound limiters, as you will know, they're actually just fine. They're really far down, and the sound of the room means by the time it hits the meter, it's all been diluted a bit. And some of them are extreme, and it's like you just tickle the snare drum on its own, that thing is going into the fucking red.
Yep.
So who knows what sort of sound limiter it's going to be, but I just don't like playing with a sound limiter because you can't do your full, because drums are loud, George.
Well, they are.
Drums are loud. I've actually had to say that to someone before at a gig.
Drums are loud.
Venue, like, oh, you got to turn it down. You got to turn it down. Drums are loud, mate.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have bands here. Just saying.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Because it's a good lesson in how to play quiet, a sound limiter. I always try and think of it that way. Of go like, let's see if you can still sound good but quiet. But it's
just not as fun, is it? It's just not as fun because it's like going, oh, I got a Ferrari, but it's capped at 30 mile an hour.
Yeah.
You're like, well, yeah, I still get to drive a Ferrari, but it wasn't really made to go 30 mile an hour, was it?
No.
But
when I did my season abroad, a lot of them were like hotels that had sound limiters, and I remember like 2 months in going, I've got 4 more months of this, and I hate it because I couldn't play as loud as I wanted. And I remember actually going, well, use it and actually it was a good lesson in like playing quietly, because as we know, like a lot of drummers just can't play quiet. It's like it's the genuine skill. Like it's harder to play quiet and slow than it is to play fast and loud. Fast and loud's just, you sort of go for it, but a lot more room for error when you're playing slowly, and it's a lot harder to be like restrained in playing quietly. But I remember, I think loudness is almost, I'd say as well, like a way to disguise. It's almost like guitarists with a lot of pedals. If you've got a lot of stuff going on, you can kind of get away with if things aren't brilliant. And the only way, like, to explain it better is like, I remember I felt like just hitting it, you could sort of hide behind that as like, oh, I'm just going for it. And then when someone was like, you've got to play quieter, and I was like, well, no one's going to enjoy it because I'm having to play quieter. We were playing like, I Love Rock and Roll, and I remember playing that but really quietly, and it was different, but people were still dancing. But it's still like, I don't know, there are certain songs that you're like, this isn't meant to be played quietly. So
the band you're playing for plays, the first set is kind of a bit more folky country swing.
Yeah.
Now, forgetting the technical aspect of playing quiet, like that music deserves quieter playing.
Yeah.
You're not going to play Jolene the same as you play Killing in the Name.
No.
You're just not, regardless of technique. And my point is that, so with that band, when I play that band and it's a sound limiter, it's like, yeah, cool. And I've learned over the years, even like playing like more poppy stuff that we do to just keep it under control and keep the chops good, but at a quiet thing. But the stuff we're doing on Saturday with the pop punk band, it's technically a lot harder. I'd say it's a lot. You have to do a lot more on the drums in Fat Lip than you do in Sex on Fire.
Yeah.
The drums are more, I don't know, like specific. Like, there's a lot more going on that are integral, and I think that's just the genre of the music, that rock, pop punk, metal stuff. So to try and do that quiet is hard, but it just means it's a selfish thing. It just means I just won't enjoy the gig as much.
Yeah.
Because I don't get to fully play and enjoy. Yeah. Because enjoying playing that sort of music is playing it loud, and it just results in a usually not a worse gig, but it's like they're not getting what they paid for. They're not getting that a pop punk band playing that sort of music. That music is meant to be played loud. It's meant to be played big. Anyway, so, but who knows? It might turn up and it might be like, oh, actually, the sound limiter isn't really an issue. Or they go, oh, we just say that, but if you plug into these plugs, you'll be all right. But also as well, now this is a tricky one. So we got asked a few weeks ago, can the groom come and play guitar with us when we play Everlong by Foo Fighters?
Yep.
Oh, God. Thankfully, it wasn't someone asking to play the fucking drums.
Because we know how you cope with that last time.
Yeah. Go back and listen to the episode. You're not Travis Barker. You're just some cunt from Newquay. But it's like, it's a surprise for the bride. Oh God, really?
Yeah, but we know it isn't.
We know it isn't. It's you want to play on stage with the band and everyone to look at you and go, "Yay, we love you." But easier in some respects because, just play along with us. And
is he bringing his own guitar?
Well, obviously we said you got to bring all your own stuff.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna. Well, and there's the other thing. And then I got a text message from this groom yesterday, and it was quite long. Now, our agency gives out a contact number of the band for on the day.
Yeah.
So this is like in emergency, I guess in case of emergency, if something happens, there is a line of communication, especially usually on the weekend and the agency's not open, that you can just have that communication. So whenever you get a text beforehand, you're like, oh, what's this going to be? Now, to be fair, it was a long text, but it was quite a nice text saying like, oh, we're really looking forward to it and thanks for letting me play along. But then this is the bit that's just mental. He's obviously like, oh, what do you want to do about my equipment? Would it be, did you want me to drop it off to you this week so you can take it with you to the gig and set it up? What?
Yeah.
What?
Where does he live?
Well, I don't know. He doesn't know where we live. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I get it, but what you're trying to do there in my head anyway, my pessimistic, negative brain, is you've realised it's a bit of an effort. You've got to take all your gear.
Yeah.
And you've got other shit to worry about, like getting fucking married. And you got to now take all your gear or get someone else to take your gear to the gig on the day. And then you've got to duck out at some point and come down and set it up whilst all trying to keep it a surprise. And I think she'll be a bit surprised when there's another guitar and an amp set up and there's only three of us in the band. But anyway, it's like, just... You're regretting
and she'll recognise that guitar as well.
Yeah,
like,
Isn't that my husband's guitar? Yeah. But anyway, I haven't texted him back yet, but I will do. But I'll just say, just bring it with you on the day.
Yeah.
And then just one last thing.
That's okay.
The agency have sent us their playlist for in between our sets, and they've literally timed it to the second of like the order of the songs, and they've written how long these songs are and then what that total length of time is, and then it'll be us play for 40 minutes, and then it's going to be these 8 songs, and then it's going to it's just like, mate, you've got good intentions, but shit don't work like that. You're going to realise, because your wedding's going to run over, you're not going to have enough time for all of this. Like, we might not be exactly ready by the end of song number 11 on your playlist. You know, the food comes out. It's better we go on a bit later. There's a curfew of live music at 11. We got to be finished by then. Just chill the fuck out. And I have just to suppress this every year, every summer. I just suppress all this stuff and just try and not let it make me want to give up.
I mean, that's essentially what this podcast is now. It's almost
therapy
session for you.
So
none of this gets texted to anyone. I just hear it.
So it's like, it's not that I'm not looking forward to the gig.
No.
And these aren't necessarily red flags. They're just like orange flags. It's just like, oh, okay. Yeah. You're being incredibly picky about timings, but you got to be able to be loose about them. You need to just be a bit more casual.
Yeah.
And you want to play with a band, fine, but don't make my life harder. And whatever. I said to the boys, we should do the whole set down half a step. And not tell him, and then he'll play, and it'll just sound awful. But But it's like,
Yeah, but then that would still be your fault. They'd be like, my husband was great. What's the band shit?
But this is the other thing as well. So he wants to play, which is fine, but we all use in-ears.
Yeah.
And it's like, we'll set, we'll set his amp sensible volume, but also as well, it's a sound limiter. So who knows how loud it can be anyway, let alone adding another guitar. But it's like, he ain't really going to be able to hear much.
No.
But anyway, fuck it. I guess you just have to swallow it and just go, well, that's what I have to try and do. I have to go, well, okay, this is the situation. Just, you'll deal with it on the day.
Yeah.
Anyway, you looking forward to
Well,
your
I'm going to
gig?
try and say two things, but I'll probably forget one. So we'll see how I get on. So first thing, I had that situation with the, I don't know if you remember this one. I might have even told it on the podcast where there was a groom and he just constantly was at our agency, just not at the gates. Let me in. No, he was just phoning them up and just saying the rudest stuff. He even phoned up one day and a woman answered and he said, yeah, can I not talk to a woman today? I want to talk to actually a man. Yeah. So immediately, no one likes this guy. And he was trying to rearrange the set that we were going to play. He was like, I look through your repertoire. This is the exact order I want it. If you play it, change anything, I'll kick off. And I was like, Jesus. And then his wife texted me the night before the wedding at like 11 p.m. and said, hi, just want to say, don't listen to what my husband of tomorrow is saying. Just you do whatever you want, And I was like, okay, cool. And she kind of carried on texting me a little bit more like, so how are you looking forward to it? And I was like, this feels weird. Yeah, yeah. And then the next day I turn up to the wedding and this man appears and the first thing he says was, right, who was texting my wife yesterday? And I was like, I'm going to die.
And you went, me,
and,
player.
Yeah. And
She went through with it there, did she? Ah.
This is it. And he was just like, I heard she was saying that don't worry about what I was saying. I was like, yeah. And then he was like, yeah, just you're the band, you figure it out. And I was like, man, there've been so much like every day. He was like, I want it this way. But I saw them argue while we were playing our set. And I was like, that's probably not a good marriage.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to say, thing I forgot, man, I've seriously got COVID brain. I think I can't keep more than one thing in my head. Oh no, I remember. I had a similar gig. I've probably told it on here where the bands were like, can we use your drum kit? Because we want to get up and play like a few songs. Like there was the groom and some of his mates used to be in a band and they hadn't.
Was this the one where they hired a kit in?
Yeah. And they hired a kit.
Was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have told this, yeah.
And it was just like, but I remember just being annoyed that it was fine that they got up and played and they enjoyed it. And, I didn't mind. I wasn't worried about anything breaking or whatever. But I did sort of feel like if they just booked a band so they just get free gear to play songs on, do you know what I mean? They were probably like, oh, maybe we could play at our wedding. And they're like, I've got a better idea. What if we hire a band and then we'll just use their stuff for free songs and then we won't have to bring any of our stuff. It was like a very clever way around, like, rather than bring their own stuff, hire a band, brilliant, free gear, and then we can play. But I think I'll say one more thing. The thing with that is it's always worrying, like, if you say yes to it, at what point does it end? Because this guy playing guitar at your gig, he could be like, oh, it's all right if my friend plays bass as well. And then,
that's where you're worried. And that's where I try and keep quite hard lines. And I think it's quite renowned in the agency that if anyone asks to play my drums, it's just a flat no. Like before that even gets to me, no. Just enjoy your fucking wedding. And just let us do our job and just enjoy your wedding. Don't you are already the center of attention. Yeah. Literally everyone is there. Everyone is there because it's your wedding.
Yeah.
There's no reason someone's just waltzed into that barn and gone, what's going on here then?
Yeah.
They're all there. The staff, the band, the bar staff, the guests are all there for your wedding. Surely that's enough. And you're paying. Oh, you don't book a magician and go, actually, do you mind if I just do a couple of tricks?
Yeah.
Don't book a magician, just do your own tricks.
But that's why, isn't it? Because maybe it's like no one is coming to their gigs. So I don't know if you've seen that video. I'll try and
I've
find it
spent
and post it
20
on.
grand to get an audience to watch me play.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen that video. There's this video of this woman playing at her own wedding, and she's literally just doing a drum solo. And it's like, imagine the reception area. So they've got like all the tables, and then there's the dance floor, and they set the drum kit up in the center of the dance floor as she just plays. I don't know at what point in the day.
I think I've
have you seen it?
yeah.
But I love the comments because no one is going, yeah, good for her. Like, brilliant. Everyone just commented going, why? Why is she doing that? It's her wedding day. And also, and everyone was kind of going, it's not that good anyway. It just sounded loud and stuff. But it was like, but I feel like it was kind of, I don't know, no one was coming to her shows. And not to sound like a dick, but maybe no one was coming to her gigs. So she's like, right, I've got an idea. Everyone's going to be here and they can't leave. I'm going to set up my kit and then they'll have to watch me. And they can't be mean because it's, you know, it's my wedding day.
And I think, as we've said before, the people who are, you know, pros don't do that sort of thing.
No,
they don't do it. So you just
get,
and that's the other thing. It's like, well, is he going to be? Can he play Everlong?
Yeah.
Can he actually play it? You know, I'm sure he can, but also like, don't fuck with my shit. I just want this to be an easy gig because, you know,
I think in a nutshell,
they forget the reason I'm there is for the money.
Yeah.
The reason I am there, more than anyone. Yeah, I am there for the money.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't make my day harder than it should be.
I've never seen someone play drums like you in the sense of like very good at what you're doing. You know, you didn't miss a beat when I played bass for those gigs, but there's no joy in it. Or there might be. I don't know. But it's like, yeah, you know, that's I remember not comparing you to Pete Townsend from The Who, but I remember hearing him say that. He says, I can play the songs for The Who. I've done the same set for 40 years. I get nothing out of it, but I know I can do it. And it's kind of like that. You are there for the money, but you get the job done, so it's fine. But but I think one more thing about those people, it's like, who are you trying to prove to? Because I think that's the difference.
She's just married you.
Yeah.
You're already in, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just people going, oh, don't forget about me. We haven't forgot about you. You were literally just at the fucking altar.
Yeah, we're all here.
Literally just saying vows.
Yeah.
You've just paid $5,000 for us all to have a bit of chicken.
Yeah,
we haven't forgotten anything, mate.
No, we've had to take time off work. We've had to book a babysitter. We've had to book a hotel.
All I've heard about is this for 18 months.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to see you do is get on stage and whittle a fucking guitar about, you absolute cunt. Cool. So, we'll just finish off with maybe a sort of new weekly feature. I mentioned a few bits of new gear that I saw online. And I spotted something else. So I don't know. This is like Gear Slut.
Oh yeah, which one? Because I've got the email.
We're gonna go with the Tama pedal.
Yeah, I like that. I saw that.
I'm just gonna bring it up here. So this is the Tama Iron Cobra 600 series Gold Edition.
Double pedal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Double pedal. But look at that, mate. It's fucking gold.
It is cool. It is.
Do you know what I mean?
It is.
Now I've never had an Iron Cobra pedal before, but they are pretty. They're like, I'd say they're sort of a pretty like not standard, but like a good stand, like a very well, you know, a lot of people use the old Iron Cobras.
Yeah. Do you know how I describe them? If I turn up to a rehearsal space and there's an Iron Cobra, I go, yeah, cool.
Yeah, solid. Yeah.
Oh, I can work with that, you know?
Yeah.
It's not my favorite, but it's better than, you know, a lot of the other ones.
Yeah. Kind of like, I don't know. I was trying to think of some sort of car analogy, like a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah.
You go, yeah, everyone's got one.
Yeah.
That's what people go for. People with no freedom of thought. No, but I just saw this and I thought, fucking hell, it's gold.
Yeah.
And do you know what? There's that little bit of twat in me that goes, yeah, I'd get that because it's gold.
Have you started dealing drugs or something? You're just buying all sorts of stuff. Lego, snare, gold, kick pedals.
I'm not going to buy it, but I do my work. Cool. I do my work. No,
this is true, yeah.
But yeah, so we'll put a little picture of that. But
yeah, I like that.
Lovely. Anyway, That'll do, won't it?
Yeah, that'll do. We can discuss other stuff next week. Should we call that? Have we got a name for this part?
I don't know.
Because we've got Tom of the Week. This can be
We'll have to think of a name, and then it'd be good to have a little jingle for it.
good. Yeah, it would.
But I don't know. Drum dumpster, something like that.
That's good. There you go. Drum dumpster.
The drum dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to say, it actually looks like shit. So prove us wrong. Prove us wrong.
Yeah.
Prove us wrong.
Tama, get in touch.
Yeah.
Send us one. We'll have a good old
go.
Good old go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just a little, gold. Yeah, I'll have one of them. Cheers.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Sweet. All right. Nice one, boy.
All right.
Hope you feel better next week. See you soon.
See you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.